panel of guests for you today. They're very informed, very involved in the educational process, and we're just excited. Hey, we back, man. It's Tuesday night. This is what we do. We the JAKQ Brothers. So before we introduce our guests, we're gonna go all the way around the horn. We're gonna start with the grandfather of the show. That's what I call him. Our man, he's grounded. He's the one that keeps us solid, keeps us like beating up each other all the time. My man, all the way, he's from Florida, but he's in Atlanta with the rest of us. My man, brother JAKQ Muhammad.
Peace to the gods, peace to the gods. Welcome to another edition of JAKQ Brothers Presents. We so happy to see you all. We got a crowded house tonight. We're gonna catch the Holy Ghost tonight on education. So we thank y'all. We want you to just have a seat and listen up. It's a great show. Peace to the gods.
Praise be to Allah. That's gonna be a lot of shouting going on, brother. We down here in the South. You stand with that Holy Ghost, brother. All right, this next brother, I really don't know where he's from. He's a well-traveled man. He said he's from New York. He live over in North Carolina. He's always over here in Georgia. I don't know where the man from, but that's our brother, man. Let's bring on our brother Ahmed B. God.
Yes. Welcome to another edition of JAKQ Brothers. Let us make man. My name is Brother Ahmed. I'm the founder of the Hope Equals Life movement and a fighter for freedom, justice, and equality in our community. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Brother Ahmed. We still got to figure out what that is, Brother Ahmed. You got to tell us in great detail. We're going to have you on as a guest one of these shows so we can talk about Hope Equals Life. All right, this next brother, man, this is our brother. He's doing a lot of work. He was behind the scenes. He on the front lines right now. He in this fight, trying to get us to get these great shows and bring on these great guests. Help us welcome Kawhi Muhammad.
Assalamu alaikum, family. Thank you for that, Brother Kadeem. I'm excited about this show. I had a chance to talk. I know Brother Patrick. I know Brother Keith. I know what they bring to the table. It's going to be hot. I know about my brother Talib Kareem. I can't wait to hear about my sister from Elevated Places. So please tune in. Please get your pen and notepad. This is a much important show because this is about our future right here. They have our future in their hands in terms of their mental concern. So please tune in and enjoy this show. Thank you for tuning in. Assalamu alaikum.
All right, thank you all. Now, to all of our viewers, all of our listeners, you will see periodically scrolling at the bottom of you might be home watching this on television, but if you're on YouTube or if you're on Facebook watching this, we're going to ask you to support our podcast. You will see our Cash App streaming at the bottom of the screen. It's Cash App JAKQ Bros. If you all have any questions and you are on YouTube, you can definitely go into the YouTube JAKQ Brothers. That's our YouTube channel. Ask your question. Your questions will pop up on our screen. All right, so let's get started. All right, we're going to start all the way over in the Southwest region. Elevated Places. Listen, our sister, she is the co-founder of Elevated Places. Listen, I have seen some great commercials and information on Elevated Places, and I'm so excited to learn more about it. So let's welcome to the program our sister with a JAKQ Brothers round of applause, Sister Melva Muhammad.
Oh, you wanted me to say something?
Yeah, Melva. Yes. How are you?
I'm fine. How are you? I'm like a family.
Well, sister, who's that handsome man sitting next to you over there? What's his name?
This is my husband, Isaiah Muhammad, who is a very strong supporter of the Elevated Places. And if we were not him, me, and the other teachers, would not really do what we do because it definitely is financial support. And anything that ever needs to be done at the school, he's going to call me Isaiah, and that's what I need to do. So he's our silent partner.
Praise be to Allah. Did you say his name was Isaiah?
Also,
all right.
Middle school and high school math.
Yes, ma'am. Praise be to Allah. All right, sister, we coming back to you. Don't get nervous on us, okay? All right. Now let's talk And listen, this brother here, he was calling every day. He was nervous about the show. He wasn't know what was going to be asked, how it was going to be asked. So I said, I'm going to go right to him first when we get right into the question section. But this brother, he runs Blackstone Academy in Atlanta, Georgia. Him and his wife, they are the co-founders of Blackstone Academy, been around for multiple years. Let's welcome to our show our brother and our sister, Brother Kenneth and Sister Anita Muhammad, with the JAKQ Brothers round of applause.
Thank you.
Would you care to tell us a little bit about yourself, Brother Kenneth and Sister Anita?
Well, as you said, that my wife and I, Sister Anita Muhammad, well, we've been married for like 39 years, and out of 39 of those years, 28 of them have been working together in the field of education.
Praise be to Allah.
We have worked together, and what is developed into Blackstone Academy today. And our students have really followed the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad to the Honorable Minister of Farrakhan. So there's so much more to say, but suffice it to say that the blueprint of what we followed was actually through the Final Call newspaper. And the founding fathers were, of course, Master Fard Muhammad, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and the Honorable Minister of Farrakhan.
Praise.
There's so much more to say, share that with everybody else.
Praise.
Bear witness.
Delighted to be here.
Sister Anita, did you care to say anything? I'm not gonna bypass you, sister. I'm not gonna come across like that, sister. Did you care to say anything?
And I totally appreciate that, brother. My husband at this point, I'm going to speak, but he has already said everything that needs to be said about an introduction. So praise be to Allah.
Praise be to Allah. Yes, ma'am. Thank you, sister. All right, we're going to go to our brother. This brother was a public school principal, and he's doing some amazing things right now here in Atlanta on his farm. And we just want to bring him on because this brother can say so much about himself, and I would prefer he said. So let's bring our brother Patrick on with a wonderful, warm JAKQ Brothers round of applause. Brother Patrick. Assalamualaikum, Brother Patrick.
Walaikum salam. How are you?
We're fine, sir. Praise God, beloved. Do you care to share a little bit about yourself?
First of all, I just want to say on behalf of my family, I'm an extremely proud brother at this moment to witness the JAKQ Brothers. I have been cheering you all on from afar, and to have the opportunity to know each one of you, and to know your struggle in striving to be the best Muslim. And I say struggle because struggle is ordained. And I see you all rising above all the emotions to the thinking of God. You know, it's an honor. You know, you went all the way down southwest. You brought my twin on, and Brother Isaiah. You know, that's my Muslim twin. So you know, I'm glad I'm on with him today. So if we flip cameras now and then, it's okay. You know, it's all right.
Yes, sir. Praise be to Allah.
I'm honored to be on the panel with Sister Anita and Brother Kenneth. I've known them all my time at Atlanta. My wife actually worked with them in their schools. I know many of their students and the believers. So they've always been, you know, just mentors and role models of mine as I strive to be a student in this work. And then to Brother Kareem, just a brother that I've always admired, you know, from afar. I respect his work, his commitment to MUI and the Nation of Islam. And so, indeed, I'm just honored to be here. And whatever I can share of good, I owe my life, I owe my study, and I owe my work to the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. And I pray Allah that whatever I can share is a benefit to you and you all.
Praise be to Allah. Thank you so much, beloved.
I got to get my Trinity picture because all these pictures are hold on one second. Let me see if I got a Trinity picture. Hold on.
What's a Trinity picture? I don't know that. Oh, I see that. I got you, brother.
Hey, all these pictures, I got to pick my picture up now.
Praise be to Allah. Finally, our last guest, this brother has had the opportunity to travel to Mecca with the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, and he left Jason. He came back as Brother Talib Kareem, and we want to bring our brother. He is the director of Muhammad University of Islam in Chicago, our brother Talib Kareem. Bring him on with a JAKQ Brothers.
All praise is due to Allah. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam, sir. How are you?
Oh man, I'm really feeling blessed and honored to be a part of this panel with these wonderful educators, wonderful believers, hosted by wonderful brothers. I'm really honored to be here, and I hope to learn as much as I can from the great minds that are here. But also, I pray that Allah blesses each of us to provide value and something of great substance as it relates to our discussion this evening on education. So I'm just really excited and thankful and looking forward to spending time with my family.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, I want to start, and this question is for each one of you, and so that no one is going to talk at the same time, because generally we get quiet when we ask questions like that. But we want to start with Elevated Places. We go to Blackstone Academy, and then Brother Jason, yourself. But the question is going to be quite different for you, Brother Jason, because you direct MEY while the others are co-founders of their particular schools. But
yes, sir.
What was the inspiration behind Elevated Places as well as Blackstone Academy and your desire to even start those private institutions? You're muted, sister.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
And I just want to say I thank you all for allowing me this opportunity to be on the show. I'm very humble and I'm very nervous.
We are too, sis. We are too. We nervous too, so
Right.
it's okay.
But the Elevated Places started in 2007. We live in Houston. We live on the southwest side of town, and at that time, we were all homeschooling our children individually. And at some point, we all made a collective decision that we would come together and work together and homeschool our children together, and we would all just teach our best subject. And then from there, it developed into a school from actually individuals homeschooling their own children into the Elevated Places. But prior to that, back in 1992, my first daughter was born. He and I both had my husband and I made the decision before she was born that we were going to homeschool our children and we were not going to send them to public school. And we pretty much stuck with that decision throughout, each one of our children's lifetime, and we do have 8 children. Our profession, he's an engineer, and I'm a school teacher. So we thought it would be best and I would be very well capable of educating our own children. So for me, this started back in 1992 with my firstborn, and then so forth and so on. And I had another school, Sister Malika and I, who's known as Sister Valerie, but now Malika. We started a school called Your University. And I think we operated for about 11 to 12 years. And I had twins, and we kind of just felt like maybe I needed to slow it down a little bit. But even while doing that, I still had children that I had to take care of and make sure they were being educated. So I'm taking care of babies, nursing babies, and, doing whatever I had to do to make sure that their educational process continued. And children came with me to my home when we actually closed the school down. So I didn't have a lot of downtime to really nurture and care for them. So I've kind of been in this, and this is what I believe. The minister, we're taught that we should educate our own children. And I don't kind of waver on that. We don't really waver on that. We stick to that. This is what we believe, and this is what we're going to do. This is what we've been taught, that we should educate our own children. And it only makes sense to me. If we want a better product, then we have to control what it is that our children are learning. And I firmly believe that.
What grade do your school go up to?
We go from preschool to high school.
Absolutely.
Praise be to Allah. And what about yourself, Brother Kenneth and Sister Anita? What was the inspiration behind Blackstone Academy? And how long have you all really been around? You said 28 years. But what was the inspiration behind that? And you all are muted too, Brother Kenneth.
Is that better?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yes, sir. Well, actually, it started out of dissatisfaction. my, my wife and I, we had our children in the school that appeared to be nice around the corner. But every time we came in for a parent-teacher conference, they kept talking about holidays and getting them ready to perform plays. And we were like,
Right.
where's the education? We often always had our own homework for the children. And after a while, one thing led to another, and we said, we can do this ourselves. So we pulled them out and we started to homeschool them and learning about the homeschooling process. But as we started to homeschool, at the table, my wife also had a daycare that was going. And the parents from the mosque who were dropping their children off at the daycare would look over her shoulder and say, well, what is Brother Kenneth doing? And I was at the table homeschooling. So one thing led to the other, and we were just helping out. And so we ended up helping out for the first probably 6 to 7 years before we began to accept the fact that this is growing into some kind of business. At a certain point, we would contact Sister Shelby in Chicago,
Right.
who is the directress of the MUIs, asking for her assistance and suggestions. We would send our material up to Chicago, and she had said that stop sending it up. You're doing fine. And she gave us instructions on how to move towards the private school aspect. So it was really Sister Shelby up in Chicago that had gave us more direction on, and she kind of kicked us in the direction.
Yes, sir.
Developing at that time was what were we called?
Fundamentals Academy.
Fundamentals Academy.
Yes,
and
sir.
it developed into Blackstone Academy.
I did want to make this point too. Having our children in public school was a challenge within itself. But both Brother Kenneth and I have had experience in working in the public school sector. We also worked for private daycares. But at the time we made the decision to move our children from the public school, I actually have a son. And I'm going to be honest, my concern for him was a little more greater than for my daughter at that time. Because I saw the undoing of him as a Black man under the auspices of female teachers, first of all, several of them being white. So therefore, I knew that there would be a decision we were going to have to make for my son. And of course, my daughter was right there with him. So that was one of our movements toward we need to homeschool our own children. We had already worked for the public school system. We kind of knew the structure of what Georgia wanted, but we also knew that we wanted to incorporate the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And we didn't want to spend as much time with having to undo certain things that he was taught during the day, even though I want to make that perfectly clear, that can be done. And it's our responsibility to do so. So if your child is not in a homeschool environment, they're not in an independent Black school or things like that, there are things that we are responsible. So I love the title that the brother JAKQ has given us today. What is our responsibility? You are still responsible to teach the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad to your children, even if you are presently attending a public school.
That's right.
I know we have to move on to our other speakers.
That's okay, dear sister. We got time. And now, but Brother Talib, now this question is going to be a little different from you. What was the process to determine to make you, is it director of Muhammad University of Islam?
It's interim director is the
interim. Okay, interim director. If you know what the process was, how you were chosen for that, and what have been your inspiration behind it? How did that inspire you to do greater things at MUI?
Well, just to give you a little context, like most of my brothers and sisters on the panel, I was a public school teacher before I came to begin to serve at Muhammad University, starting in the year 2009. Brother Dr. Larry Muhammad was the director at the time. I'm sure many of you all are familiar with him.
Yes, sir.
We thank Allah for him and that which he has done and was able to do while he served at Muhammad University, just as Sister Shelby and others who moved us closer and closer towards the goal. But nevertheless, I've been in education for 25 years now, but it wasn't until I joined the nation in 1999, and now going on 22 years of being in the Nation of Islam, that the key for whatever education that I received as it relates to becoming a teacher, it was the teachings that unlocked it. Because we all know that before you can teach a person, you got to reach a person.
Yes, sir.
And it's the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad that allows us to reach the heart of our people before we reach the brain of our people.
Right.
And so when I came on to MUI in early in the fall of 2009, excuse me, I came as the assistant director. Well, most of you all know with an independent school, you're not going to just be doing one thing. Head nods.
Right.
Well, I didn't know that.
That's right.
So,
Many hats.
Most of my years, really all the way up until last year, I've served in multiple capacities as an assistant director under Brother Dr. Larry Muhammad, but I also taught biology. I taught third grade. I taught Islamic studies. The only thing that I didn't learn how to do was to make the bean pie, and I'm working on that. but nevertheless, so as Brother Dr. Larry made his transition to other things, the minister convened a meeting in search of a national director. I'm not the national director. I'm a local director. I'm the interim director. But when we were at that meeting and knowing that that vacancy was there, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan instructed me and told us that I would continue at Muhammad University of Islam as the director. And that's pretty much how it went. And ever since then, I've been striving to live up to such a weighty position, if you will. But I have a great team of teachers. I have great support in Brother Ishmael Muhammad, who's always been their support, and the Executive Council, who's always there to support on behalf of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan as well. So that's pretty much how your brother is blessed to be in this position. It's not an easy position, but nevertheless, I pray that in the time that Allah blesses me, that I can move it forward and not backwards.
Well, I have one more question because Brother Patrick's journey is different. Brother Patrick, you were a principal. Your journey has been in the public school sector the entire time. How was that experience in the public school sector, and how do you compare it with what you know with the private school system?
Yes, thank you for the question. So yes, I started off in public education as a teacher, and then through these teachings quickly rose into leadership. And I took my first assistant principal job in 2001. I think I was 27 years old then. But at the same time, my wife, we had our first child, just like, Sister Melvin, Sister Nita shared, had our first child. Sister Ishtar gave birth to my daughter. And so we started a home daycare, right? And so our home daycare grew from 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 to 5 to 6 to 7. And so as we had the home daycare, I was transitioning, up the ranks in public education. And this book has led me the entire time.
Torchlight for
America. And chapter 4 is fixing the public school system, right? And so I believe that I've been able to set up a beachhead behind enemy lines for the system to take over. And so in every school that I have been able to manage and run, it's been a safe haven for the believers' children. Right around 2005, I believe, many of the sisters in the city had their daycares, and then they all came to MUI, and we opened up MUI at Mosque number 15. And so while I was assistant principal at the public school, I was actually maintaining Muhammad University from afar. and Sister Samia was our director. And so I kept my balance by being connected to our private schools while at the same time running public schools.
Yes,
And
sir.
so now I'm the principal at Chattahoochee Hills Charter School. It's a charter school right here in Fulton County. I think I have 22 believers' children that talk to Uncle Brother Patrick and Principal Muhammad at the same time.
That's right.
And so I've been able to help the believers that have to put their children in public school, place them in an environment where their big brother is maintaining the school, so you don't have to worry about any of the nonsense.
Right.
Because I have been able to navigate the system by being respectful, also giving a global picture and understanding of the differences in people's beliefs. And so you won't come in my school and see a big Christmas tree. You won't come to my school and see all the Halloween, but we do allow our students to express themselves. And
Right.
so you're going to learn about Ramadan, right? Learn about other aspects from the Native Americans, etc. So being able to understand that when they get home, we got to debrief them. But at the same time, I have to know going in, I have to bring a different teachings in, right? And so that's how we set up the beach.
Thank you so much. Brother Kawi, you're muted, but you did have a question, Brother Kawi.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So I wanted to have this question to start off with Brother Patrick. You know, I've heard Student Minister Murray give a lot of lectures on our youth. One of the analogies he used a lot was when you drop your 5-year-old daughter off as a black child, or just a black child and a white child off in kindergarten, they kind of both start the same way. Scared to leave their parents, and they go into the school. But while doing their travels in school, they say, he will explain that the black child would start to, I guess, get broke down mentally, or lose his confidence, whereas the white child would get more and more confident in themselves and their place in society. Elaborate on that, from this perspective, because he just couldn't get into it on the roster. But since y'all, I got all these scholars right here, I want to, get into that for me, please.
Yes, and thank you. And that's an excellent question. I actually have a book coming out, How to Get Private School Education in a Public Setting. The key to that is the most important factor when your children are in public school is the parent. You don't drop your child off and leave, right? They have to know that every time they're speaking to their child, they're speaking to the parent. And so you have to be extra involved in your scholar's education, because if not, there are opportunities for the needle to be placed into their brain. And so from my vantage point, when I'm hiring teachers, I'm looking for spirit. Yes, it's a public school, but I'm looking for spirit. I'm looking for teachers that care about children. I'm looking for intellects who are very versed, but at the same time, my teachers know that all 562 children in that building are Mr. Muhammad's child. And I'm extremely explicit about that. They're my children. I open every door in the morning, right? And so our teachings transcend because I'm searching everybody every day. I'm searching my teachers, right? I'm searching my students, and I'm making sure that they know you have to have my spirit and my energy as you instruct these children. And so I encourage our families out there, if your children are in public school, whatever school they're in, you have to be actively involved, right? This is not the day and time where you just drop your child off and it was grandmama teaching them. No, these are people that with real lives and real situations, and their situations, their circumstances becomes your children's reality. So I really encourage everyone to, the biggest thing I would say is be involved as a parent in everyday aspects of your child's education. Now, the second part of that, in curriculum settings, and this is one thing we have to work on internally and externally. We have to put curriculums in front of public schools because public schools only select what's out there. So when you have people like myself who control a budget, if there are viable curriculums, I can put that curriculum in front of Black children. But if it's not a viable curriculum, then we end up selecting what's out there. And what's out there is what these other entities bring forth. So as a collective, if we pull our intellect, our resources, and put together a K-12 or pre-K to 12 package curriculum, there's millions, if not billions of dollars that we leave on the table that we could take access to if we put together a viable curriculum for our children across.
What grade levels do you have at your school, brother?
My school
Patrick?
is kindergarten through 8th grade, and it's a farm charter school. So my farm life is the same farm life at my school.
Yes, sir.
So that means so am I to understand that a curriculum is something that we all can get together and we can actually put a curriculum towards the education?
Absolutely. I see Brother Talib was about to share in that, but yes, absolutely.
Well, yeah, I wanted to kind of add on to what you said, Brother Patrick. Yes, the involvement in parents is absolutely essential. But even sometimes, you know, as teachers, based upon the consciousness, based upon it's presupposing that parents know what to do. So there's an educational component that needs to be given to parents. But in the meantime, it is on us when we have them for however many hours, 6 to 8 hours in after school programs, that we are partners with the parents. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan in that very book talked about a parent-teacher partnership. And the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan also told us that we are the chief aiders or helpers of the parents. But if the parent does not see themselves as really being the first part of or the bigger part of the ministry of education, which starts at home, that is because of an overlaying condition that we are all in and we're in transition from. The second part, when it comes to curriculum, as my brother talked about, Brother Nuri speaking, that you can have a white child and a black child start at kindergarten, but throughout that journey, throughout school, something happens. The brother's shoulders start to droop. It's drooping because of the poison of white supremacy. It goes right back to the point that you made. We're trying to select the least amount of poison. You know, we're trying to select curriculums that, well, hopefully we can navigate it. If I'm not in the classroom, like yourself, Brother Patrick, I don't know what the other teachers are going to do. I don't know their level of consciousness unless they are members of the Nation of Islam, and that may not be the circumstance inside of a private school or a charter school or even a public school classroom. So the point is, part of the main issue and part of the reason why the Honorable Elijah Muhammad set up an independent school, number one, you cannot have a nation and you cannot develop a kingdom, a nation under the education of your enemy. The Nation of Islam is rooted in a new idea from God himself. So you cannot produce something new from the children if they're still being taught by the enemy. You can only reproduce the poison that is pumped into the needle, into the brain in the school system. So curriculum is critical. Curriculum is only a roadmap. It's what students should know and be able to do. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, in short, said that education should prepare us for life.
That's right.
Those of us who are educators, we have to come together, rooted in the teachings of our Father, and say what will prepare our children, not for where we were, because we get stuck in a time warp and start saying, well, when I was little, I learned this. Well, we're not in your time.
That's right.
And according to what's happening today, we're not going back. We're going into it.
That's right.
So therefore, our children need something new. We have to think deeper. We have to think, as the minister said, survival. So what do they need for life that is here and approaching in the very near future? That's all a part of curriculum. And if we teach them properly, I'm sorry.
You're fine.
Okay. There was a little lag on my computer. If we teach them properly, free from the poison of white supremacy and rooted in God, then the drooping shoulders will come back, because then they see themselves in the curriculum. They have hope that they can be something just because they don't fit into the mold that we put in the box. The droopy shoulder is, I don't see myself in this crap.
Come on.
Right.
The droopy shoulder is, you're telling me that I have to be this, but my mind is telling me, my spirit and my soul, my purpose is telling me I want to be this, but you're trying to fit me to become a worker.
Right.
Come on.
So most of our children after this pandemic, they don't want to go back to that crap. And that's good, as the minister said.
That's right.
Nobody wants to go back to that. And I'm happy. That's going to force us to be creative and to find new ways to educate our children. In other words, I know I'm being long. I'm so sorry. I'm just fired up.
Take your time, man. You're a Muslim, brother. You're a Muslim.
In other words, every child that comes under our tutelage, under a Ministry of Education or elevated places, they should be able to produce their own food.
That's
Otherwise,
right.
you won't survive.
That's right.
Our children need to know business, not just mantra, do for self, where we make it a bumper sticker or a t-shirt, but they have to be taught from kindergarten. Why can't we teach kindergartens how to build a hoop house?
That's right.
Some of us say, well, that's too difficult. Well, why not do it in a shoebox, the way we used to do those old dioramas?
That's
Start
right.
with a shoebox. And as you scale it up, at the end, when you get to high school, now they're in the communities, after we train them, setting up in all of these wastelands and these areas where they're growing food, now starting business. And then what? Now they're teaching. And what are we producing? Goodwill for the nation, the school. But that's where education has to go, man. I'm telling you, me sitting in the classroom, just doing the same stuff, I can't stand it.
Yes, sir.
I can't stand it.
Come
It
on.
has to be something new. It has to be something progressive, and it has to be rooted in God. All right, I'm sorry.
That's all right, brother. Listen, we've never, in all of our years combined, everybody on this panel have heard of a quiet Muslim in the Nation of Islam. So you fit right in, my brother Tyler. But listen, the America ranks, and this, I got this from an article on the Business Insider from a 2018 article. But America ranks 27th in the world in healthcare and education. And it's key. I looked at why they always mention healthcare and education together, but our show is not really about healthcare. It's important to me as a person that sells health insurance. But this represents a significant decline from 1990, when America ranked 6th. Now, the nation has seen a marked decrease in education attainment, partly as a result of reduced and poorly allocated funds for elementary and high schools. You all have private schools. How are your schools funded? And if you all received greater funding, can you do more things through the private school system? And that's for every single one of you.
Okay. Assalamu alaikum. Boy, Brother Kareem, you got me so fired up. You got me talking about the minister, the Honorable Minister of Farrakhan, when he said the basis of our world endeavor is the family. Most important is that we teach these children the knowledge of themselves and the divinity in their relationship with God. When they know that God is man and man is God, it determines their outlook on life itself. Yes. It determines how they will go out throughout life solving problems, not sitting back waiting for what must be done, but they'll approach life from a proactive, productive, creative aspect, all based on knowing who they are. They're supposed to be put in the curriculum. And then the children can go home and teach the parents. The children were often in the MUIs, historically, they went home and influenced the families. So curriculum is extremely important. I just had to say that, Brother Kareem. I was with you bearing witness all the way. And in terms of funding, yes, we can do so much more. The funding aspect, I mean, it takes finances to build a better curriculum. Our funding primarily comes from our parents, and it is limiting. You know, oftentimes when they have business symposiums, they don't call my wife and I to speak on any business panel, because oftentimes schools are not looked at as businesses. because they don't produce this big finished product. It's not very profitable. A school is more like part of a family. It's an experience. It's an unseen power that it takes a special person to work in that, but finances has to be there. I'm really looking at Brother Patrick, how he couples his education with financial tools that help to boost his school. So we do need financial tools to help support education because it is very costly in time, in money, emotional effort, all these type of things. And our people's consciousness has to be raised to understand the value and the importance of education. Because I know Elevated Places has gone through some trials. I know that the MUI has gone through some trials, you know, and I know Blackstone Academy's pain has gone through some trials. You don't have to tell us that we're at war. When you're in education, you know you're at war. You're fighting the parents. Come on. You're struggling with the finances. You're struggling with society's interruption to our children's development. It's an automatic, we're at war. As the Holy Quran says, we hurl truth at falsehood till it knocks out his brains. It's a war, you know, for the minds of our children. And in education, in a school, it's a war where we're constantly being measured with report cards and being measured up to how does that child actually matriculate and do in society? Is that child a functioning citizen in this society? So yes, it's a war. It takes finances, but before finances can really come, the consciousness of the people has to start to develop. And we believe that Allah is working on that right now. So I hope that answers some of what you were saying.
You did, and I see Sister Melva and Brother Isaiah. They ready. I see you, sister. Come on, Sister Melva.
And I just bear witness to what Brother Kenneth is saying is that the Elevated Places is a private school, and we solely function off of the parents' tuition, which I firmly believe that the prices that we charge are very antiquated. And we mentioned that as Black people, we do have to raise our level of consciousness about education. And then as a nation, we have to understand and know and believe that we can't build a nation without money. And we do the best that we can, and we have at the Elevated Places. But imagine what we could do if we have the funds. Whenever the people said something, and we find ourselves trying to do it. If the minister say you need to learn how to farm, then we have a parent that's love farming. So we create a garden for the children, learn something about farming. Whatever he said, we are limited because we don't have the funds that a public school may have or that a charter school may have. But we are still working and we're going to continue as a business. In time, things are going to happen, but I believe that people and as a nation, we have to change our mindset about education. And I just want to add the responsibility. But no one is responsible for the child but you. We all have to have intention and a purpose for our child's being, and guide them and lead them until they can figure it out. But you have to have intent. Like, what are we doing this for? Why are you doing this? And prayerfully, the intent will line up with what Allah has given us is ultimately for us to become one with God.
That's right, sister.
Yes, ma'am.
Let
me ask you a question. We spoke about a curriculum for the parents, and Sister Anita touched on, talking to your children, after they come from school. The minister said that, we must debrief our children. So speaking to parents that's out there listening now, what are some proper ways to debrief children? You're muted, Sister Anita.
Wait, I think Brother Patrick wanted to answer that last question about finances. He had one more piece with that.
If I can, just on that finance piece, and let me just say this: one of the differences in the private and public, and then I have to make a greater distinction. as believers, private school and public, right? Because as the nation goes, when we depend on charity, believers are going to look out for our respective charities, and tuition may be an afterthought. And so we've had to experience that in our believers' private school. In addition to that, we have believers and believers' children in our schools. And we have often believers as teachers. Well, in the public school setting, I don't have that. Right. And so I deal with all of the aspects of the community and try to put this clean glass there, but it's difficult. And you always have to check and monitor, check, inspect, because people will try to intentionally or unintentionally sway the minds of children, in an opposite direction. So it's challenging. I battle myself like, oh, is it worth it? But on the finance side, and I believe Brother Donnie and his wife with Torchlight Academy is doing a good job of walking that line of exposing the community to the teaching while at the same time getting some of those funds. Because, we need those funds. Teachers will come, certain teachers will come if we could pay them so they can maintain their households, right? And then we could get more resources when we have the money. So being strategic enough to toe that line, because there's billions of dollars that funnel into our communities every year for charter schools. And anybody can start a charter school, right? There could be a charter school called MUI. There could be a charter school called Torchlight Academy. There could be a charter school called Bean Soup Scientists. So we can set up a beachhead behind that enemy's line and proceed to take over. But in that, there are still ways, and we will have to talk about this offline, but there are still ways that we can steer resources to our private schools if we properly cross our T's and dot our I's. But that's something we can talk about offline.
You're on mute. You're on mute, Brother Talib.
Thank you.
You're on mute again, Brother Talib.
It seems to keep going back. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Two quick things. One to the regarding the question from Brother Jackie regarding parent involvement, but also finances. Here in Chicago, again, tuition based, and tuition based is going to be based upon the economic resources that parents get in. And especially in a national economy in America, where we're in a global pandemic, people's livelihoods are being impacted. Well, then that's a trickle down effect. We have one of the lowest tuitions in not only in the state of Illinois, but in various parts of the nation. It's a low tuition, but in the same token, high value. And what it comes down to is a community of people who value education, value what teachers are doing every single day. I think the pandemic has allowed for some to really value, oh my God, this is what you all go through? Oh my goodness, this is what y'all experiencing with my child? So I've gotten a lot of love letters, love letters in quote, right? But really, really kind comments from parents who have perspective that what we do is very challenging and not always easy. And sometimes that increases the value because we tend to give attention to, this goes to your part, Brother Jackie, a parent involvement. We give attention to that which we value. That's the bottom line. You spend time with what you value. So if you don't value the education, what's the question when they come home? How was school? Good. Okay, now they on their phone and you're on your phone. That's the end of the conversation of probably 85% of American household, black, white, brown, or whatever. So the point is, people have to develop a value for education. And that's a process. Because we have a failing educational system. We don't see its value in the long term. That whole scenario of go to school, go to college, and
get a job
is dead.
Right.
You have young people now that are learning on their own, and they're becoming, making 7 figures, 6 figures, and their parents are struggling.
Right.
And they're not going to college.
That's right.
And you can't convince children today that that's the only way to make a life for yourself. So yeah, it comes down to, what do you value? If you value Muhammad University of Islam, then you know that it takes money to run a school. We don't produce money. It's a business. You take in money. Outside of a bake sale here and there, we can't do that now.
Right.
That $120 you make from a bake sale don't get you some chalk.
Come on.
But I have a question, brother.
Yes, sir. I'm sorry.
This might be a little. This is private school versus public school. So I got a little research going on here.
Okay.
Research says that more students that attend public schools end up are more successful than the ones that attend private school. They say that at a certain point, they say with the private school, you get a head start on education. But because of the social economic differences where you have more social learning in the public schools, at a certain point, y'all kind of like, they tie up. But the ones that in public school, they're more successful in the quote unquote real world than the private school. Have you heard such a thing? Do you know anything about that?
Are you asking me directly, or are you asking the panel?
The whole panel.
Brother Isaiah had his hand up for that.
Yeah. It's good to see my friend over there, Brother Patrick, the mayor of Atlanta. Man, hey, I have to come down to Atlanta and see that forum. I've been meaning to do that. My daughter is there, so I ain't got no excuse.
Open invitation.
Yes,
open invitation.
A couple things. I want to just be real quick, try and hit a couple of points. One is that education, and as a private school, what we're doing now is blazing a trail. Make no mistake about it, right? The fact that we are on this connection here speaking English says that we still got a lot of the devil in us. So we couldn't, this is the language that we were given. We were brought up under this system. Most of us are first generation Muslims, right? Came up to heard the teaching under Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, and we are in the process of changing. So we don't have all the dirt off of us as we are building this new school system. So it's a little bit of trial and error here. But one thing that I know for sure is that school education cannot be considered a business. It's not a business. It's our God-given right to elevate humanity. And that comes through education. But now in the world that we live in, we know that there's finances that's got to be attached to it. So I'm working hard. I don't want to see the schools maintain. I want to see the schools thrive. Because the school teachers need to be 7-figure salary. School teachers need to be the biggest ballers in the communities so that people stop looking down on education, right? But as we break away and start to build these private schools, to my brother's question, I don't care nothing about what they stats say. What we're building now is our own stats. We want to know, and we can only be as good as our records show. So we're not going to hide from what our records show. Elevated Places or no other school. You produce a product, we're going to see what that product looks like when that person leaves that school. So I'm not concerned about, did he make a certain grade on a test or this, that, and the other. What kind of person did you make in a system? Again, brother said that the education starts with the parent at home. It not only starts there, it ends there. We are in the middle, assisting the parent. But at the end of the day, between us and the parent, what kind of final product that we put out on the street? And we'll see that by his involvement in the world that he goes into.
Right.
Absolutely. Yes.
The last thing I want to say on what we're talking about is, as my wife and I were talking about this earlier today. Children are human beings. You do not have to teach them to be students. We come on the planet, as the Honorable Louis Farrakhan said, being curious, right? So as we mature and grow older in our school, there are certain basic things that human beings need. They have to know how to communicate. So we're talking about reading, right? That allows them to be exposed in the way of, as the book say, in the beginning was the word, and be exposed to other people's ideology and thinking through books and things like that, if they can read. But then they also have to be able to share their ideas. So they got to be able to write. So the more of an effective reader and writer they are, of course, that cuts down on frustration because now they can express themselves. And then the other thing is they have to have mathematics in order to be able to build. Because as these ideas that they manifest, they want to be able to build them. So the more eloquent these ideas are, the higher level of mathematics they have to know in order to bring this into existence. But after we give them those tools, the thing that we struggle with now that we are learning how to do, because as a parent, I had to learn how to transition from the parent of a teenager to the parent of a child who's now getting ready to leave the house or who has left the house. You got to parent two different ways, because now this child now is an adult, and you can't just tell them what to do like you did when they were 6 years old. So now when we move from that aspect of give them this foundation, now I got to give them some exposure to different things so that because this is how we are starting to, if you will, crank up the mind. The more they get exposed to, well, I can't hear what you're saying because your actions are speaking too loud. So it's not just a little black child and a little white child in the same classroom and his school is beating him up. It's when he leaves the school, everything that he's seeing so much that's based on white supremacy. But now as we begin to expose them to black excellence in pharmaceuticals and mechanics, and taking them to the airport and they seeing black pilots fly, take them to the farm, we expose them to all these different things. Now they're not just making a choice from limited information, they're making an educated choice when they decide what they want to do, and we've given them the tools. So the only thing we got to be careful of now as we transition from that, from this devil's system, is once we inspire them, we got to get back. They are the future. We don't tell them what to do. They are here to bring the future to us. So that is the tricky part now of knowing how to build them to a certain point, and then let's see what Allah's going to do with them. We can't keep thinking that I'm going to tell them what to do. Then that means you reproducing yourself. So that doesn't look like growth. We want to see what the new man looks like. We're here to perfect humanity. So that means we can't keep producing people that look like me. My son wants to do something greater, and I gotta be a cheerleader for that. But I gotta give him those tools to get him started. I gotta give him the inspiration, and then I gotta let him go and let me see what Allah's gonna do with him. That's what we have to do. Last thing is
That's right. Go ahead, bro, Kenneth.
Yes, sir. That is very, very, very important. And I'm not, it's my job, and I am working tirelessly to not only just be able to, because we have transitioned from the home into, well, not anymore, we're back into the home, but before we had gotten into a strip center. So finance changed, right? But now it's going to take people like myself and business-minded people to be the backbone of the educational system. Here in Texas, the enemy, off the muscle, he takes tax money from you. If you're a homeowner, you're gonna support the school. Either that or you're gonna lose your house. That's the bottom line. We don't have that kind of authority to just take money from people. So we have to be, once again, we trailblazers. We got to be creative to figure out how to do it. But that kind of thing has to be, to me, I have to relieve my wife and the other educators of that. And it's my job to keep churning to try to figure out how am I going to get money into the school so that those children can have those field trips. They can have proper equipment. The teachers are not worried about how they're going to pay their bills. The money is supposed to make us comfortable so that we can express creativity. And whenever you start straining a person and making them to you either in the creative side or you are in the survival side. So if I start straining you and putting you into a survival mode, I can't get the best out of you. So I can't get the best out of my teachers. I can't get the best out of my students if everybody wants to just survive.
Right.
That is where transition to, as we kind of business mind has to support that school system and make sure that school system, I'm saying not school, individual school system has enough money to expose those children, to take care of the teachers, and that should not be the responsibility of the teachers. Even though I know.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you, brother. Brother, before Brother Kenneth go,
you're going up, Brother Isaiah.
Before Brother Kenneth, Brother Jackie gonna take us to our commercial break, and it's gonna be very brief, and we coming right back.
All right. It's commercial time. Everyone know what season this is.
Savior's Day season.
It's Savior's Day season. We are so proud of our southern region. The regional staff here, they are leading the charge in the Savior's Day gift drive. So far, Atlanta has raised over $1 million for the Savior's Day gift, leading the nation in the charge of supporting the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and the Nation of Islam. But we want to keep that spirit going. We're asking those who are watching to go to your link. If you're in the Nation of Islam, go to your link on the Nation's program and donate. If you're not in the Nation of Islam, you can go to one of our Facebook pages. We have our link on our Facebook page and just click on it and donate. If you want to support the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, if you love the work that he and the Nation of Islam is doing in your community, go to that link, click on the donate button, and just give $1 or $2. We need your support, and we thank you for your support. But we're still out here working during the pandemic. We're still out in the community. We're still out in the street. We haven't laid down. So we ask you to go and support the Nation of Islam Savior's Day gift drive. Thank you, family. May Allah continue to bless you all.
Before we get to my next question, Brother Kenneth, I'm going to come back to you because you was about to make a comment.
Oh, yes, sir. Thank you. Very quickly so you can get your question out. You can do a lot with a little bit. We're taught about desire feeds the will. You know, when I showed the books of the financial records to our CPA, our accountant, he's amazed at what we can do with so little. You know, when your priorities are right, you can do a lot with a little bit, which is what we have done for years. But Allah has blessed us to be responsible for almost $2.3 million worth of scholarships, you know, because we centered around nation building skills that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said we should emphasize. We produced doctors, lawyers, engineers, software programmers, all off of a little to no budget. So if your values are in the right place, you can do a whole lot with a little bit. You know, and you show that this teaching does in fact work, you know. So as brother was saying, each generation, the minister teaches us, each generation is fit for the time.
That's right.
We don't emphasize for our children to memorize what we're telling them. What we have to do is to make sure that their thinking is mathematically sound, that they work together, and that it's about the process of education. Their final destination is between them and their creator. Our job is to make sure that their foundation is good and that they have a proper takeoff off the runway, so to speak.
Yes,
But
sir.
it's strict for the time, and the best thing that we can do after we've taught them how to think with truth and working together, as brother said, is to get out the way.
Yes, sir. Praise be to Allah. I think that there are some big unknowns when if you've been successful in life and you've come through the public school system, the odds are you okay with your child going through the same process. But I think there are some big unknowns. Will private school or public school best prepare my child for the future? What are the benefits of private school versus public school? Which style of education aligns best with our values? Are there meaningful private schools versus public school statistics that I should know about? Is the private school cost worth it? I think they're just a myriad of considerations. How do you market and then convince people to bring your children or allow their children to move from the public school to the private school sector with all of those considerations out there? And I use the term market because one of you did say, and this is a point, this is a business, and a key line item in every business's budget is its marketing.
Well, I'll say this, at the end of the day, I think, what was the brother? I can't
Brother
see his
Isaiah?
name, but my brother said, yes, it's the end result. Your marketing is mostly word of mouth. It's what parents say to other parents. That's with any business. Marketing, if it's a good movie, you're going to talk about it. If it's a good school, you're going to talk about it. So most of the marketing, because people want to trust people that they trust. So if I say Elevated Places is a great learning environment, man, look at my daughter graduated at 15 and she has this, that, and the other, I'm going to be looking at Elevated Places. So part of that marketing is not your traditional marketing with ads and videos, and that's fine. But the majority of the people that come to your school or any other school is based upon the real or perceived results. You hear what I said? The real or perceived results. But more than that, it's what other people say about your school. If they talk down about your school because of whatever, that can impact your enrollment. But if you are doing your best, you're producing great results, then people will naturally market for you, because the fastest way is word of mouth. So that's one way that most of us, I believe, get quote unquote
Yes. Yes.
from other people and their recommendation.
Praise be to Allah. Thank you. Did anyone want to add to that point?
Yes, sir. Excuse me, before you all say something, Brother Kenneth, we're muting your mic. You have feedback in your microphone, Brother Kenneth. If you can mute your mic, please.
But when you're ready to speak, you can unmute yourself. And Sister Melva had a point she was about to make, Brother Kawi.
And, Brother Tamia, that the Elevated Places is word of mouth. Mm-hmm. Mostly word of mouth, and now a little bit of social media, but a lot of word of mouth. And most of the time, when someone comes to the Elevated Places, particularly a lost found, they've already made up their mind. They've heard about the school, so now we just gotta kind of sell them. And that's not hard to do when they come into the environment and they see, what's going on in here. The environment is very important. We have parents that say that's the most important to them. It's almost as important as them getting an education. I want to know that my child is safe. And I know that with them being here, my child is safe. And that's in this dispensation time that we're living in, people want to know that, because anything and everything is going on in public school.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Again, so word of mouth. I had a parent really right before COVID, and we had a parent right before COVID started. She enrolled her son. And one of our students was standing at the door, and he's been there since he's 3 and he's 15. And that's a big difference. So he was talking to her son, so respectful and so malleable, and she was blown away. She said, that's what I want my son to look like. And that's I said, well, he's been here since he was 3. She said, I don't know, baby, but let me tell you, that's what I want him to be like and to display. Just hearing him talk and conversate. And I was like, oh, okay, he's like this all the time. This is nothing. He's not, putting on the front. This is how he's very mannerable. He's very respectful, and he's very highly intelligent. So it is word of mouth. And I want to add to this, to those people who say like this is just me. I don't want my children to be like me. I want them to be better than me. So public school was not good for me. Not good for me. So I'm not looking to reproduce me. I want them to be better than me. So if I can give you something better, and which I don't believe that is public education, I don't believe that's it. And I tell people all the time, I don't care what kind of program they have to offer. I don't care if it is the best school in Houston, Texas. My children are going to the elevated places.
That's right.
I know what they're learning. I know I know what's being put into them, and that's what I want to know. I want a sense of control. That control is the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. I don't care about the elite program or that they have at this school, this tech program, because as a parent, I feel like I can give my child those things, even if I got to go spend some money for it, and I will do that. If I got to go for them to get, I'm going to do it. These 2 people here, we're going to do whatever we can to help these people in this house and at the elevated places to become the people that they're supposed to be. And all of that takes sacrifice. So you can have the best school in New York, Florida, wherever, but if it's not what we have and we can't control it and we can't monitor it, I don't want it.
Praise be to Allah.
That's for your child.
I want to add one other thing, a couple things actually. One is that we provide a service for the community in the way of education, but we have to run it as a business. We provide a service. I don't consider this a business because I'm not here to make money off of education. I'm here to provide a service for the community, but I have to run it as a business so that we can make sure that things stay intact financially and mathematically, right? But that's one. And then the other thing is that we are clear that the education that we provide is a specialty education. It don't fit everybody. It just don't. Not because everybody right now, as you say, when lost founds come to the school, the first thing they see us opening up in the morning with prayer. Some people may not like the prayer that we sing, but we say Allah. We ain't saying, the God, the high one, the created one. None of that. We say Allah.
That's right. That's right.
Muhammad. And they walk in, first thing they start saying is, well, who is this that they talking about? Then they see the children drilling. They see the children giving pledge. They see the flag of Islam up. We don't take that down.
That's right.
You should.
That's right.
Go somewhere else. Our service called education is here to produce a final product called a Muslim that follows the Honorable Elijah Muhammad that's being taught right now by the Honorable Ms. Louis Farrakhan. That's what we're trying to produce. Now, if you like that, as the lady saw one of the products standing at the door talking, she liked it and she said, oh, that's what I want. Okay, well then here's the process that he goes through. Come right in the office and we'll tell you, right? But now there are some people that have walked in and said, oh no, these are Muslims, this, that, is. Hey, well, it is what it is. We're not going to change for you.
Praise be to Allah.
In their garments, they're not wearing mini skirts at school trying to fit in, like they do at a public school. They in their garments with their headpieces on. Brothers are dressed. So this is a specialty education that we provide as a service to the community, but we run it like a business.
Right. Yes, sir. Go ahead, Brother Kawi. Oh, I'm sorry. Somebody going to say something. Go ahead, Sister Anita.
Yes, sir. I wanted to say I'm in total agreement with elevated places. It sounds so very similar. And I did want to go back to the responsibility of the family. I wanted to make mention of that. It starts with the family. We are the helpmeets. And most of the students that we have gotten in agreement with Brother Talib and Sister Melva have been through just association, seeing us in the community, working our community service, people seeing how our children look, how they speak, being very inquisitive about where do you come from, what is your school about. So it's definitely been by word of mouth and not so much of the marketing. But I also wanted to say a lot of our parents are interested in their students being a part of a God-centered institution. And we're at war. We have to outfit our children for survival. They're soldiers. And therefore, Satan is out there every day coming after our children. And so when I said sometimes you have to debrief them, well, honestly, if we keep Islam as the focal point in raising them, as I did when my children first started off in the public school sector, I outfitted them with the tools for survival. They were taught, and still should be, at home, taught knowledge of self. They should also be told who the enemy is, be able to identify who the enemy is, whether you're in the private sector or whether you're in the public sector.
Right.
That's our responsibility as Muslim parents. That's right. Home.
Come on.
Once again, then identify the devil. Know who the devil is. Know that if the devil is creeping in self, be able to identify that too. That's something that you teach. Know and teach your children from the cradle the knowledge of the true and living God. They got to know that. The children have to, as well as the adults, know point number 12. They have to.
Yes, ma'am.
And from there, having that kind of foundation, you don't even have to go into a whole bunch of debriefing, because I really didn't have to when my little ones were at a public school sector, because I had to work out in corporate America, because I was teaching so hard at home that when they got to school, things like the Christmas tree and Santa Claus and all, that didn't even, because they could defend this teaching. They got hyped off of Savior's Day. And then when we decided, the nation, to have the Holy Day of Atonement, and we don't do that enough. Please excuse my passion. We don't do that enough. We don't make big of Savior's Day. I made big of Savior's Day in my family. So my children were looking forward to that. And they combated the people with the Santa Claus and the Christmas tree, because they knew who the Savior was and why we were going to Chicago. It was all up in them. So they didn't really have to be as debriefed. But my concern, though, is because I saw my children getting older and exposed to other things that I did not want them exposed to, then we made the decision that this is what we're going to do. But the learning, the aspect of teaching this Islam, that's on us parents. And I don't want us to become derelict on our duties. Don't even get comfortable with just because your child goes to an elevated places, an MUI, a Blackstone Academy, that you stop doing what we are supposed to be doing. I just wanted to make that point. That when your children come to even our private school, Blackstone Academy, they should be adding into the conversation. Our conversation should be not the total and the end all. So that is the responsibility of our parents. Now, what attracted people to Blackstone Academy is because we had those teachings. And we had a lot of students that were from other sectors. They were other sectors of Muslims. We had all different kinds of religions. And then some people who had no religion and adopted Islam. And that was a wonderful thing to see. But it starts at home. I'm not going to come up off of that. I'm like Sister Melva. Some things you're just not going to compromise with. Praise be to Allah. Praises be to Allah. When they took prayer out of the school, how did you think that a school system was going to exist? Taking prayer out of school, taking a moment of silence out of school, nothing for the children to reach back to reflect on. When they did that, and I was from the New York City projects. So really, that moment of prayer was a good thing for us, because a lot of us was coming from some deep situations. But when they took that out of the school, that was to allow the children to now function under the auspices of that kind of a government. Now your teacher, which my teacher was all white, became my all in all, because I didn't stop long enough, unless I was at home and going to church on Sunday, to have the remembrance of God. So take that out, it fails. It's by design. And we have to teach our children that this is by design, and they have to have the tools. You have to outfit them with those tools that we all know we have, in order for them to combat this, and in order for them to survive. That's the bottom line. It's Islam or nothing.
Go ahead, praise. All of these preachers
on the line this evening here. Every week there's a different preacher. Our list, Nation of Islam, is something else. Praise be to Allah.
Yes, sir.
Brother
Let me-
Kaiwi had a question he wanted to ask.
So actually, I have questions from the guests. I have y'all cracking Adams. I have a lot of questions. So I'm just going to pick one of the one right here. I want you to shoot at this, Brother Patrick. Everybody can chime in on it though. Brother Patrick been quiet for a minute. I want to hear my brother. Okay, the question is, have you incorporated? Because she's saying the cost of college is so expensive now. It's in the hundreds of thousands, especially for a good school. So they say, have you incorporated aside in your curriculum a trade? We hear the curriculum. Have you set up a trade for them? You say a degree produces an hourly wage, but a trade produces an income. If applied correctly to business, it can also, start a business. So is that something y'all have going on in your it's just type bad. I'm trying to
It's okay
to fight through it.
I got you. One of the
brother.
one of the unique things about being in the charter system, and this is my first for the past 3 years running charter. This is my first time running charter, and not just strictly a public school. So the charter does give you a lot more opportunities to be creative. And so my particular charter has a tri-focus, and our tri-focus is the arts, agriculture, and the environment. So literally my students come to school knowing that they're going to be working with the goats on campus, the chickens on campus. Every classroom has their own garden. We have 3 miles of nature trails. I had a horse on campus last year, right? And so I'm able to take what the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan has blessed us with, and my farm life, a school was created and prepared for me before I even knew it, that I can do that at my school. And so now my scholars are able to see not only is this man our principal, but he is a real life farmer, and he's creating opportunities for us to experience that. Now, I'm going to step back just a second to that marketing and budgeting question, because for our private schools, we have to make our budgets public. Now, I'm not talking about take your spreadsheet and make it public, but what I'm saying is there's enough of us in the community to where if I know Elevated Places yearly teacher salary budget is $312,000. Blackstone's teachers for a year is $192,000. MUI is $250,000. I ain't even got to $1 million yet, right? But there are enough in the community that knows and says, you know what? I have a $10,000. I need a write-off, right? So if we set up our schools, the structure properly, there's opportunity for us not to go to the government, but for like minds to say, you know what? Annually, I want to give $10,000 to Elevated Places. Annually, I want to give such and such. When we do it that way, then we can relieve some of that stress of trying to make that payroll, and the teachers wonder if I'm getting, that's real. Like I'm telling you, that's real, right? And that child is sitting in that classroom that you don't seen that little slip for the last 3 weeks, you'd have put in that book bag that ain't paid tuition. That gets real for that teacher. I'll be honest with you, right? But there's enough of us to do that. So what I encourage us to get back to what you asked, brother, is see what trades and skills that would allow our children to be successful without a degree, right? So can I teach you how to stud a wall? Absolutely, I can. Can I teach you the basis of electricity? Absolutely, I can, right? Can we build an aquaponics system? Absolutely. And so we have to begin to incorporate those things into our quote unquote curriculum so that our students can use a skill now and make money. See, the time has changed to where we encourage them, oh, when you get a degree, you can make it. Man, right now, if you got access to a phone and a camera, these children can make 6 figures right now. And the beauty about our private schools is we don't have the parameters that I have as a public or a charter school. There's certain parameters I just can't go out. Like, I can't believe that you have to be 5 years to learn 26 letters. That has still been a baffle for me, right? But you shouldn't. We know that coming out the womb. So there's opportunities where we should be stretching the mind of our children in our private schools so that at the age of 7, they have an LLC. At the age of 10, they're already operating a 6-figure business and company. And we should be stretching the minds of the gods that we have the opportunities to serve.
Thank you, Brother Patrick. And before I make my next question, just to your point, Brother Kawhi's question about trades, consider this. I'm a college dropout, but I'm an insurance agent and a financial advisor. And I learned you don't need a college degree to be any of that. When I left school, I went and bought the book for every single thing I wanted to learn. And I was willing to pay for all my own exams and everything that it took to be those things. Doing it that way, I've had more job offers for people because nobody had to hire me and pay for me to go take those tests because I came in already with those credentials. That's something that a person can be taught in high school. All you got to do is buy the books. They can become an insurance agent. They become an investment advisor. They become a financial advisor. And that could be a great trade. Mark Zuckerberg has no college degree. Bill Gates has no college degree. We use their platforms every single day of our lives. But I want to say to this point, we were talking earlier about parents having to really care about their child's education. It was when my daughter was born that I became greatly concerned about education. I remember, Brother Talib, under Dr. Larry, there were the education conferences that were taking place in Chicago every year. And so when my daughter was born, I had this vision, and I want to see if you all can help out how we can create this vision. I do meetings every single day on Zoom with business. Even when I'm having meetings of training, I could raise my hand and ask a question to somebody in some other part of the country if I have a question about something. So I was envisioning a national education. I don't want to say a national MUI because we have different schools here. But I was thinking of what if we had one education system where if all of our children were in their various cities, in the mosque, in their study groups, or even if they were in their homes. We had one education system being run from somewhere, and everybody was on the same accord in their various systems. We could have that education conference every single year where everybody that are in these various systems are on the same page with the people who are conducting this education, one education system. Is that doable or is that impossible when we have MUI, Elevated Places, Blackstone Academy? How doable is something like that? Or is that something too far-fetched to even think about?
Well, you just thought about it. And you articulated it well. So if you articulated it, it can be done. It only takes unity and organization. That's it. That's it. So the answer is yes, it can be done. It's just a matter of those who are interested in doing that, sitting down at the table and saying, okay, what do we need to do this? How do we start? How do we begin the process? And then guess what? Instead of talking about it, instead of pontificating, find somewhere to start. And guess what? Everything starts small. Everything starts small. So maybe you can't do K through 12 the first go round, but maybe you just do primary, universal. And once you work through the kinks scientifically, see what worked, what did not work, then you expand. That's the nature of everything. So no, brother, what you're saying is it can be done. It's just a matter of those like-minded individuals getting on a Zoom after this and saying, hey, what brother said, let's begin a dialogue on how we can roll something out like that in the fall of 2021. What can we do to make this a reality? Because there are variables, there are different components. It's not magic, it's work. So yes, it can absolutely be done because you thought about it.
Praise Allah. I like that slick answer, Brother J. You thought about it.
It's just the reality of if you thought about it,
was a great
done
answer.
within time.
It was a great answer, brother, and I'm only playing with you, brother. Yes, sir. Praise be to Allah.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, brother Kawi.
I keep getting this question again from the audience. Just throw it out here because I don't want to, get beat up. How do you keep a child from falling? Because y'all keep mentioning the parents got to get involved. The parents. It start with the parents. So this person posed this question: how do you keep a child? Oh man, how do you keep a child from falling behind if the parent is absent or non-active? Uh-oh. I got.
Go ahead, brother Isaiah.
I wanted to. That's the point I wanted to make. Actually, real quick to what Brother Kadeem just said is that this is the beginning of that. This is to his question is this is what it looks like. This is the start of it. As Brother Talib said, the process, understanding the process of how things evolve, you're looking at it. It's already done. It's not should we do it? It's done. You're looking at it. But now, how do we evolve it into something greater is the question. And I think that what Brother Patrick said earlier is a great opportunity for someone who has the knowledge and skill of writing curriculum, which could be a business, writing curriculum to infuse the teaching of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad as a total curriculum that would be acceptable by not just people who quote unquote call themselves followers of the Nation of Islam or Louis Farrakhan, Elijah Muhammad, but anybody who's looking for that alternative curriculum that we specialize in, right? But as Brother Kadeem said, that this thing is already in motion. Now we just have to evolve it. Brother Patrick gave the excellent idea about producing that curriculum. That's another stage of evolution. And then perhaps after we massage it enough and we can all get on that same curriculum, now that is another stage of development, but it has already started. Secondly, for us to, the devil has given us a situation, an issue to deal with. And in my years in the public school, we would have teachers, parent conferences, and I can tell you, PTA meetings, and with thousands of children in that school, we might get 10 at the parent conference, not parent conference, but the PTA meeting that night. And that means that we had to offer dinner, we had to offer them rides, all kinds of things like that. And we might get
a lottery ticket.
A lottery ticket. We might get 10, and then they want to start arguing among the 10. But so for us to act like we have a situation where we're going to have a bunch of parent involvement, that's like sitting there with your car broke down and you talking about how a new car rides. That ain't your situation. Our situation is we have a community that's full of single parent households, in some cases 0 parent households, because mama is gone too and they're being raised by grandparents. That was our big issue when I was in the public school system. So you got 0 and single parent households. And even if you got a parent in the household, the influence that's coming from that household. So now we to the question, how do you take that child who's coming from that household that may not be the most positive environment, but for some reason they are able to come to MU. Now, in our case, that's kind of like an oxymoron, because if for some reason they got to, unless grandmama or somebody paid for them to come to elevated places, but somebody got to have a little light in their eyes in order to get them to the elevated places. But if you get that child there and that parent is not there to support them like that, Sister Melvin can talk a little bit more in detail, but what involvement, what we do is with the parent. And the more you bring, when that parent comes up there to pick up that child, these sisters are hugging those sisters, and we give them the Greek understanding or not. Pretty soon they start saying Slake Islam or whatever. They may not understand it initially, but then pretty soon they'll catch on. We just don't change. We are ours 24/7. And then as that parent start, and before you know it, guess who at the mosque on Sunday?
The parent.
The parent is at the mosque on Sunday. So that to the question that Brother Kawi asked, that's a process too. Just because you showed up for whatever reason, if grandma paid for the child, and we have situations where the grandparent might have paid, but the parents might be anti-Islam. So they come up there with an attitude, head twisted when they get out the car. But after a while, if they just stick around, pretty soon you see, when you irresistible, it's you just irresistible. Pretty soon that something happens. We have these little functions where the sisters preparing the food and things like that, and they telling them what the food is, and they taste it and go, this
praise be to Allah.
How y'all make this? And next thing you know, they're in a conversation, and now that child, that parent is at the mosque with their child. So, but it's a process. It don't happen overnight. But that's the process. And as we design curriculums in school, we must include that as a strategy, because that's our reality. That's our reality. Most of our parents are just not going to be pro-education. And if that was the case, we wouldn't be in this situation.
Praise be to Allah. Thank you, Brother Isaiah. I want to thank every single one of you all. We are out of time for our show. And honestly, in truth, we did not give this subject matter enough justice. And inshallah, we'll be able to do it again with all of you. But before we go, we want to ask all of you for your final remarks. So we can start with you, Brother Patrick.
Wait, hold on a second. While we're doing that, can we share their information?
Yes, sir. Brother Jackie can put that on while that is happening. All right. Brother Patrick.
Final remarks. What I would say is, and many of us have talked about this as educators in the nation, it's really time to unify. You know, we have brothers like Brother Anthony out of Michigan, who's an excellent presenter. I've purchased his books and I actually have put my staff through some of his training. We need a no cameras, no recording, sit down meeting of the educators across the nation. Because we can put together a curriculum that can be marketed all over the world. And our people are yearning for the product that the Nation of Islam creates. Our people are yearning for that. And we are that clean glass. We just need to package it, right? And when we package it, you might not put a bow tie on it, but it can have the red and white, right? It can have a sun, a moon, and a star. And we go out and market that. And then we can use those proceeds to tell every believer, you never have to put your child in public school, because the resources we got from this curriculum has freed all the Muslim children from public school for the next 20 years. Like, that's the kind of work that we have to set up and do now. I thank you, brothers, the JAKQ brothers, for allowing us to just remind us of our work. This pandemic has allowed us to get into our chambers. And if we are in our chambers, we should be ready to come out firing pretty soon. And I think this education is something that we need to be prepared. And as you see on the screen, yourfaithforums.com is all of our social media. And we would love to continue to spread these teachings of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad all over the world. Thank you.
Thank you.
Brothers, into the panel.
Thank you, Brother Patrick, for those words. Sister Melva, Brother Isaiah, if you all would like any final words.
I just want to say thank you. Really appreciate you all having us on. And to Sister Anita and Brother Kenneth, all the way in Texas. We've heard great things about Blackstone, so I'm glad I had the opportunity to meet you all. Brother Patrick, a lot of things about your school. Looking forward to meeting you all and collaborating with you all. I just want to say that I'm very, very thankful and grateful for the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And I love that the minister has told us that we have to mesh education with character. To me, that's one of the most important things, because the minister talks all the time about you could be this great attorney who's just a liar, or you a doctor who's a thief. But when we have something that's unique and that's different, and the minister said we mesh the knowledge, the education with character, we will produce distinguished men and women. And that's what I love about the Elevated Places, and UI, and the school in Blackstone. And again, thank you, and I look forward to the opportunities to meeting and working with all of you. Thank you.
I'm going to say one. Brother Talib, please give the minister the greetings when you see him. We don't have that. We don't have that opportunity. It's still,
But
if it wasn't for the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, that was the first question. That's the only reason the school started. So 1 million thank yous to the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Allahu
Akbar. Thank you, brother.
I just wanted to say that everybody who sees that information at the bottom of the screen, that's also for enrolling your students, getting any information, and supporting all of these entities. We have to back them. We heard everything that they said about financing. You can enroll. You can enroll. I don't care where you're at in the country, in the world. Everything is online now. You can enroll in any of these entities that you see rolling across the bottom of the screen, and you can support them. And you can come up with ideas to support them. So email them, help them out. We want to get this educational platform growing to the next level. Thank you.
Thank you for your early closing remarks, Brother Ahmed Biad. Brother Kenneth and Sister Anita. I'm sorry, Brother Patrick. Yes, sir.
I was just saying thank you for that. You know, I'm a public school administrator, but I'm a Muslim. In my Muslim teaching, I teach agriculture virtually. So when you see Your Faith Farms, that's what we teach. We teach agriculture every week virtually. So that's what you'll be supporting, not the public school that I represent.
Yes, sir. Thank you, brother. Brother Kenneth and Sister Anita, any final words?
I want to take this opportunity to thank the JAKQ Brothers again for having us. I thoroughly enjoyed myself, and I thank Allah that we got a chance to meet one another. All praises due to Allah. Just like with Sister Melva, I'm so glad to see you. I've heard so much about your school. I want to, thank also the MUIs, because it's on your shoulders that the independent schools were able to stand. I never want to ever forget that. I also want to thank, the nation's historians that have, or our researchers that have produced so much material that, that is available to us as well as the world. And that's the basis of a lot of our learning that we can use in our homes. So this opportunity with the shelter in place will allow us to make our homes our places of worship as well as our places of education. I thank you, Brother Patrick, for the information that you have given us, and we definitely want to get with you because you definitely have that information that will help us maybe on that financial note that we need. I want to take an opportunity real quick to thank my teachers, because actually without them, their spirit and their love for what they're doing, because they're definitely not making any money. And that's that they're all wrapped up in this, which is called the Teachers of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, that the time that they give. So I definitely want to take this opportunity to thank them if they're in the listening audience.
Go ahead, Brother Kenneth.
Oh, brother, after 39 years of marriage, I concur. Praise be.
That's the key. That's the key. Everything y'all said today, that's good teaching.
Praise be to Allah. So, Brother Talib, any final words, Brother Talib?
Oh, that was wonderful. You know what? I just want to say one sentence from the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad from point number 9. And he said, the Muslim teachers shall be left free to teach and train their people in the way of righteousness, decency, and self-respect.
Yes.
And that's what it all comes down to. Our job is to produce a new people rooted in the wisdom of God. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, as all have stated, he desires for us and our nation to produce a universal curriculum, not dogmatic, but a universal curriculum where everyone who desires to be free from that poison and from that world curriculum can find a place and see themselves in that curriculum and grow to their full potential and oneness with Allah God. And we can do that. So I just want to thank, of course, my teacher, our teacher,
Yes.
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 The Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. We celebrate Master Fard Muhammad because he's at the core of a new educational paradigm.
Yes.
And I want to thank you all, brothers, for allowing me to be present here today to share whatever that was of value, to enjoy listening to my fellow brothers and sisters, educators, learning, vibing with them. And I pray that anyone who's listening, I hope that you got value from what has been shared tonight. So thank you so much for this opportunity.
Thank you so much, brother. All right. Brother Ahmed, round 2. You got any final remarks?
Wow. You know, I'm just at an awe. You know, I grew up in the Nation of Islam, and as a child, I missed Muhammad University, but I went to a school when I was in kindergarten and first grade that was a product of right after the 75. And, you know, it was just so beautiful being in a school where my name is Ahmed. So I had 2 other Ahmeds in the school. Everybody was Muslim. The culture was all righteous. And then they put me in public school a year after. Man, if you all could have experienced the transition that myself and my family went through, there's 6 of us in my family. I'm talking about children cursing. I never heard a curse. I was like, what is that? Children, you know, touchy-feely. I mean, it was like, we in 2nd grade. It was absolutely mind-blowing. Going to the lunchroom, I can't eat certain things. I'm asking the nutritionist, does this have pork in it? I don't know. I mean, you're a nutrition. I mean, you should be telling me, but they couldn't even tell me what was the ingredients of the food. I'm talking about sitting in lunchroom starving. I mean, you don't even understand that. One time I had to eat a Frank and I got sick. It was a pork. They said they don't know. I ate it because I was hungry. And I got sick. So the value of these entities, the value of these schools, I mean, if you only knew, but we have to support you all. I thank you all for coming on. I thank you all. I thank Allah for blessing us. I thank Allah for intervening in the person of Master Fard Muhammad and bring to us, like the brother said, pointing out what was wrong and showing us what is right, showing us a clean glass and inspiring so many of us. But we went over a lot of things, and we should have a part 2. I pray that this brought us together, and the viewers, the graduates from your school, I pray that all of them are watching because they have a responsibility. You know, some of them have gone out. I watch the products from these schools. I watch the children go out to college and get jobs. And I don't see any of them really coming together to form businesses. I watch this because I support the schools that I'm around. I come in and all these, and believers here in Atlanta know, I'm just a part of every school. I come in, I teach drill, I teach prayer. I come in to try to add something of value to every one of these schools and finances. But I pray that what Brother Patrick said could bring us all together. I pray that all of the graduates, all those watching, can help organize our efforts and ideas. I pray that all the elders who are retired, who sit at home all day and watch TV, can try to help come tutor. I mean, these schools should be flooded with elders. I'm talking about flooded. We all have responsibilities now. I'm not pointing fingers, but I just want to give an idea to some of the people who are watching, and some of you all can assist. You all can come in and join on. We can build a new civilization overnight. It's been proven. It's been done. We witnessed it prior to 75. It's been done. We in the works now. We just have to really come together. We just have to really push. We have to get. We at war. What Sister Anita said. We at war. The minister said, "Full
Get his mic, Jackie. Get his mic.
He finally want to say something. Can't talk.
Get his mic, man. He ain't asked a question all night. He can't
Word
get
of the night. Go get it in.
I'm sorry.
Boy,
I'm
wait,
just very
wait to the
passionate about
debrief.
this. I pray that you all can come back on and join us, because we want to have a part 2 and a part 3, and we want to inspire everybody with this new curriculum that Brother Patrick is setting up. And we're gonna put Brother Kadeem to work. We're gonna send him to Chicago, Brother Talib, to come and talk to you about the idea.
I'm down, Brother Talib. In fact, that's a reality. Brother Kawhi, any closing remarks?
Yeah, I'm amazed at some of the things I've heard tonight. First of all, Sister Anita. I mean, when I used to get on the rostrum, I told your husband this. You used to make me so nervous. You sitting up in the front like that. Now that I know that you can preach, there's no way in the world I'm going to get on that rostrum and you there. I'm going to put you on the rostrum. Praise be to Allah. And Sister Melva, Brother Isaiah, there's a lot of strength in it. I just hear the passion across the board.
Yes, Pastor.
Yeah, there's so much passion. This ain't just this is your calling. You know, Allah, I really feel that Allah put his hands on certain people. Like, you got to be a certainly built person to deal with children. And I really feel that, you are you're an example of that. You're especially made for this. I tried to help Sister Samia one time at MUI, and it was only like 4 or 5 students in the class. I think I grade. I have gray hair now because of it. So like that y'all do this for a living, year after year. Praise be to Allah for you. And if I had to send my children to you, I'd be very confident about that because of that passion, that fire that you have about just teaching. Finance aside, just the teaching part, y'all love it. And I love you because you love what you do. So thank you for coming to our show. Hopefully we can do this again and get this word out. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you, Brother Kawi. And finally, our brother Jackie. Any closing remarks?
Yeah, just real quick. I just want to thank you all for coming to our show. You blessed us today. Definitely, my children attend Blackstone, and I'm very, very proud of the work that they do at Blackstone. I'm very, very satisfied. We moved here from Florida, where my children went to a private school, a Christian school, and the transition into Blackstone, man, was just beautiful, and it helps me because they teach Islam, civilization, the final call. So it helps me when we have a conversation here. I can give them some. They go back to school and they come back home with it. So, so thank you all for the work that you all doing. Thank you all for the sacrifice. I know it's not easy, just like you said with the checks and whatnot, but thank you all for the sacrifice and the love that you pour into our children and the love that you instill in your coworkers and in everybody that you come in contact with. Y'all keep pushing. Keep pushing. You on the front line. May Allah continue to bless you all.
Praise be to Allah. I want to thank every single one of you. I'm really going to make the push, Brother Talib, Brother Patrick, Brother Kenneth, Sister Anita, Sister Melva, Brother Isaiah, for an education conference. We can communicate via Zoom. I think this, personally, as I said, since the birth of my daughter, who does go to private school, I refuse to allow my little girl to be in some public school because her daddy will be a killer. It's all kind of stuff going on down in these school systems, But she's in Florida, and as Brother Jackie said, it's the best private Christian academy. But it's not. It's good, but it's not what I want. But I do see growth in her, so I'm gonna really be pushing. I'm not playing, Brother Patrick. I'm gonna reach out to you tomorrow with this curriculum. And Brother Jason, I'm gonna reach out to you because the importance of this education is very, very necessary for the growth of a nation. Without education, we would not have a civilized nation. Just look at America's falling education system and the lack of civility as we see every single day on the news media. We did not give this topic the justice that it deserved. We will definitely reach out to do a part 2 with this in the future. But I think that this education conference is a must. And my word is bond to Allah. I'm going to be on that immediately, Brother Patrick. You will hear from me on tomorrow, brother. So we want to thank you all. You all blessed the JAKQ Brothers. Yes, sir, Brother Patrick.
I just want to give everybody a headache for tonight. Okay. Public education and all education has changed since March 2020. As Brother Isaiah said, some people would come into elevated places and see that flag and get nervous. But now every child is in their own home.
That's right.
And inside the confines of their own home, their neighbor won't know what their child is studying. So we don't have to have rocket science. We can study brothers like Brother Ben X. He can show us how to take our MUI, our Nation of Islam curriculum, and put it on a platform tomorrow. Have Muslim teachers all over the country teaching with a monthly subscription. You subscribe to our school, you pay your monthly subscription, and you get one of these brilliant educators on here and all throughout the nation right into your home, even after you get out of school from whatever school you go to. So from 6 to 9 every night or 3 days a week, you can get that Nation of Islam curriculum. It's not rocket science, right down to modern times. So I'll get Brother Ben to help us out.
That's
and
right.
Get on something very simple, and it can happen before it's too late.
That's right.
Thank you all very much, brothers. And to our listening audience, again, as Brother Ahmed said, support Muhammad University of Islam in Chicago, Blackstone Academy in Atlanta, and definitely support Elevated Places in Houston, Texas. All right. We want to thank you all for tuning in. Next week, you don't want to miss our show. We have a wonderful show on sex trafficking. It's going to be very passionate. So please tune in next week, Tuesday, for another edition of JAKQ Brothers Present Let Us Make Man. Brother Jackie, the button. You're not gonna run the commercial, Brother Jackie? I can't hear you, Brother Jackie. Never mind, brother.